Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new interview for the Women in Translation Initiative. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with an extraordinary group of women who are at the forefront of a groundbreaking literary project. They are the translators behind Lunes o Martes, a collection of short stories by Virginia Woolf, and the first book in the Clásicos, accesibles, or adapted classics collection from Ciempiés, an independent self-managed publishing house. The team behind this project consists of talented female translators who collaborated to bring Woolf's voice to Spanish readers in a unique way. But let me introduce them to you first, and then they will tell you all about this journey together. So joining us are translators Victoria Barone, Romina Navarro, Maria Teresa Taylor Oliver, Cristina Marey Castro, Erika Cosenza, Agustina Chiripa. Welcome, all of you. And I would also like to mention Patricia Labastier, Josefina Alipi, and Maria Galan Barrera as part of the project too, but unable to attend today to this interview. But they are still here with us. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
So before we bring Virginia Woolf to the table, who can tell me a little bit about Ciempiés, the workshops, the reading club, and now the publishing house?
That would be me. But first of all, a correction because
Yes.
Victoria Maui
Mhm.
is not a translator. She's the
Okay.
co-founder. I will explain all the history of Ciempiés, and she's a writer, editor, and designer. She's the woman behind the accessible design of our book. So she's very
Nice.
important. She's not a translator, but she's a huge part of this project.
Totally.
Ciempiés was born in 2022 in the intersections of our desire to create, our passion for what we do, our friendship and love. And it began walking in February of 2023. Besides Maui and I, the co-founders are Javier Rey, he's a writer and journalist, and Wenceslao Zuloaga, he's a programmer, he's the tech guy who solves every problem we have. And of course, we are not alone because we are a centipede. Ciempiés means centipede, and a centipede has many more than 4 legs. So we are joined by a growing team of wonderful collaborators, but most importantly, wonderful human beings. Most of them women, but that's almost by chance or not, I don't know. The book clubs, in plural, we have 3 now. They are just an excuse to build community, to create synergies, to provide ourselves with a safe space to talk and share about books, of course, but about life.
Right.
Because books reflect life, life reflects books, I don't know, but they are just an excuse. And the workshops and seminars, we have in person at Barcelona. Soon we will have in-person activities in Madrid and online activities also. The aim of these workshops and seminars are sharing knowledge and mutually enriching ourselves. Some of these activities are facilitated by the core members, the 4 of us, but all others are facilitated by other members of Ciempiés. We have a wide variety of seminars, talks, and workshops, including creative writing, literary translation, cinema, and many, many more. And the publishing house. The publishing house is a dream come true. And with the publishing house, we have a twofold ambition. We want that more and diverse voices get published and that more people can read them. So this is a brief presentation introduction of Ciempiés.
Love it. Love it. I mean, it looks like you're doing a lot. And tell me, these activities are open to everyone as long as they speak Spanish and English, or do you have
Yes, yes.
workshops in other languages as well?
We have workshop mainly in Spanish, but also in English, and who knows, we may soon add other languages. Catalan, for example, so we are in Catalonia, so we have to have Catalan activities.
Cool, cool. We're gonna add a link to all of this
Yes,
information at the bottom of the video so that anyone can check those workshops and clubs after this interview. Now, Lunes o Martes, that's the first book in the Ciempiés collection. Is that correct?
yes, that's
So
correct. We are being born.
right with this one, why did you choose this work to inaugurate the collection? Why this one?
Well, the idea of translating this book was born before or maybe in parallel of considering for real, seriously, to found a publishing house. Because we admit it. You know, many people have this dream of having their own bar. We have the fantasy of having our own publishing house. So, but I was working with Patricia Labastier, with Pato, in another feminist collaboration translation project, and we were at the end of that project, and we already feeling nostalgic. So I came up with the idea of translating this book because this is among the lesser known books of Virginia Woolf. And then we said, wouldn't it be awesome to invite other people to translate it with us? And we invite them, and they all say, yes, of course, because let's be honest, how can anybody say no to translating Virginia Woolf, such a relevant, iconic feminist, and within the framework of a true, loving feminist cooperation? Meanwhile, at Ciempiés, we decided to go for it, to found our own press, and two and two make four. Virginia Woolf is an appealing name. It has an audience, it has a potential, commercial potential, let's be honest. We need money to survive. And she fits perfectly the intentions of our collection.
Right.
So that's it.
It's yeah, like I said, two and
Yes,
two, and that
yes,
was the result. And did you
yes.
know each other before getting together for this project, or some of
I
you?
know everyone.
Okay,
I think I'm the glue of this project. Yes, yes,
good. It must have been
And
very
it was
fun.
the link.
yeah.
Right, right. The connection between everyone in the group. Now, at the beginning, I was mentioning that this book is part of what you call Clásicos accesibles. Is that correct? Adapted
Yes,
classics.
accessible, not adapted,
No, no, no.
accessible class.
Okay, accessible. So can you explain what makes a book accessible, and how this concept integrates into the project? What specific steps we're taking in the design? You were mentioning before there was a brain behind this. So what does it entail?
Okay, hi Lucia.
Hey, hi Victoria.
There are several key points to consider when designing a book in an accessible way. The most important thing for me is the typography. It is necessary to use a non-serif font and a minimum size of 11 or 12 points and a line spacing of at least 18 points. The text must be aligning to the left and without splitting words at the end of the line. The weight of the pages must be at least 120 grams to avoid transparencies when reading. The cover should be as clear as simple as possible, because if there are some images or colors on the background, that makes reading difficult. As you can
You do.
see, we have
You have it
to,
there, right? You have the book there to show the cover.
yes,
there? Can you show it? It's beautiful. Love it. Pretty simple. I get what you were just saying about the cover, not a lot of colors, but straight to
Yeah.
the point. Yeah, we're gonna show an image of that also together with the interview so that people can see it.
Yes,
Like,
as you can see, we have to take care a lot of details. If you ask me about the biggest challenge that I had, it was to place the name of the eight translators and the prologue writer on the cover. We
right.
believe that it's also important to make those voices visible.
Right, definitely. Yes, they should be there. They should be there. Now, accessibility in publishing is not widely practiced. It takes just a matter of searching Google to see that this is not widely discussed or taken into account. So, what do you think needs to change, in your opinion, in the publishing industry, so that we start offering accessible books out there, and to make accessibility a standard consideration for all books out there, not just within a specific category? Is there anything that should be changed at this point so that everyone start thinking in terms of accessibility in publishing?
Anyone? No? I think the change must happen not only in the publishing sector. We need society to change. We need the whole world to think about accessibility, because if the public don't know, don't demand accessible books or accessible audiovisual products or accessible anything, companies won't do it. Yeah,
Hmm, right.
it's and maybe public the people don't know it's a possibility,
Right. Right.
because
It's
Maui was yes
right.
it's
Like
We
it's
as
it's
a
there.
right.
we
There
as
are
consumers, as readers,
Mhm.
we are the ones who have to demand it practically.
Totally.
Because
So,
if we don't if there's no demand, or if there's no request, if there's no need for it, the ones who need it, companies won't care. I mean, everything has to, they are looking out for their profit, but we have to make them know that this would be profitable for them, right?
right.
But
Right.
we have to require it,
Right.
not wait for companies to come up with things that will help us, but rather we have to tell them that we need them to make it for us. So yeah,
Agree.
that's what Eddie was getting at, I
Yeah.
think.
Right. Yeah. There is a need, and promoting initiatives like this one, like the project you girls are working on and have worked on. I think it's another way of it's making noise around it and making sure that people understand that this is not just
Exactly.
an idea that someone came up with, but it's a need, and someone has to do something about it.
yes,
And
and it's
Even
very
our
feasible. It's very feasible because if Ciempiés, Libros de Ciempiés, which is a very, very small, we are four people can do it.
the bigger ones can do
Yeah,
it too. Definitely, I
yeah.
agree with you. I
Sorry,
agree.
Cristina, you were about to talk.
No, I was just going to say that for me, as a general public, was a discovery too, in the sense that I hadn't thought about that, like the possibility that this is a possibility. So now, this book is also an excuse for me to spread the word about accessibility.
Nice, nice. I like that. Right. Yeah. When you don't come across things like this, it's probable that you're not going to think about it, because if it's not one of your needs, and you don't get to see it or get in touch with it. Yeah, I think it's great that you're not just offering a book, but spreading the word about the need uh, to provide what's culture in general to everyone out there. Now, the translation of the book is clearly for me, or at least that's how I see it, a collective feminist project, if you may. Now, how did the idea of collaboration shape the process, and how did you ensure that each voice in the book was respected throughout the translation?
Hi everyone. Again. So, well, first of all, I really like this question. I, I think we all agree that we believe that collective and feminism are concepts that should always be together. Some of us in the past, like Erika mentioned before, already worked in collaboration with other colleagues, and we also spoke about the positive effect that it brings to the translation and to the people who are involved. So I mean, some of us kind of like had previous working experiences with this. Uh, and we also embrace it as a part of the feminist approach that we bring to the practice of translation. We know that this is a strategy, a feminist strategy, and that it also like fights against this belief of competition and isolation of the translators. And I think this project proves that collective work moves further than when you work alone. Uh, and it also helps to give visibility to the singularities of each person. I mean, you don't get, I mean, you don't lose yourself because you are in a collective experience, not at all. And the respect to each voice, I think it was ensured from the beginning with the initial approach of the saying to different women living in different countries from different nationalities and specializing in different fields of translation and saying, hey, do you want to participate in a project? Bring in your voice, your knowledge, and your stamp into these short stories. It's like, I know you are singular, I know who you are, I don't want to change anything. I just want you to bring this to the table if you want to. I mean, that I think that's a very respectful approach. And also, I mean, on a personal note, I mean, I think in the proofreading stage, it was like so warm and caring, and it was like, oh, what do you think of this? Or I'm gonna leave this option if you think it's better for this. And for me it was amazing because all of the suggestions were interesting, all of the conversations we had uh, were respectful, and I was looking for that also. I mean, the humbleness of the collective, there's something about putting yourself out there and for the group to tell you, to help you become a better translator, but to also care about you. And we know that that idea is in a competitive and hierarchical world is pretty feminist. So yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. It sounds, well, first, it sounds like it was the dream project, wasn't it? It's
Yes.
like it's being involved in such a project, and you said it, caring and loving. It's those words in connection with reviewing a text together,
Yeah.
a bunch of people. It's not common, which I think is what makes this project unique. I think it's great. And the fact that I think one of you mentioned, I think it was Romina, when we were talking about having this interview, this concept of cooperation or collaboration over taking over competition. I think that's, it's great. It's still hard to think that we still need to repeat that, and put a lot of emphasis in the fact that, hey, women, we can collaborate. We don't need to compete with each other. And we find ourselves saying that over and over and over, year after year. But it's okay. I mean, this kind of project, from where I stand, it's the perfect example of that. Sometimes you don't need to say it, you can do it and make it a dream project. So I love what
Walk
you
the
what you
walk. Talk the
said.
talk, but also walk the walk.
Yes, walk the walk. Now, the way in which you approached this project together with all the different voices in the book shows a clear step away or departure from today's approach to unifying results, especially from the rise of machine translation and artificial intelligence. How do you all see the role of human translators evolving in this increasingly automated world nowadays?
Well, I believe that even though we can see that artificial intelligence is taking over, I believe that's just like a boom that will definitely fall. The hype will get to a plateau, and in particular in the field of translation, I I really loved what Agus just said about competition and also not losing ourselves, because I mean, a machine cannot give you that feeling of warmth, of collaboration, because a machine works. I don't know how to say it. At, for example, for a book, for this particular project, literary translation. Um, there's so many nuances and cultural sensitivities that artificial intelligence, maybe because it draws from
Standardized forms, maybe. It is fed
pardon me?
by standardized. Get that
Yeah,
the machines are fed by standardized forms
exactly.
of
Thank you.
translation.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. That it draws from things that are standard, but a literary translation has so many cultural touchstones that every one of us, for example, in this project, we had different voices because we are different nationalities and we have different cultural backgrounds. So we bring to the table something that a machine could never do. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, and
Do you think
also,
do you think
excuse me.
it would ever machine translation or artificial intelligence will it ever help a literary translator in any way as a tool, or
Maybe
is it something
as a
that's going to
tool,
be disregarded eventually in the
as a
process?
tool, maybe. For example, in my daily work, I do have a client that asks me to use machine translation for a part of the project, for a part of the process. Excuse me. And always obviously have to post edit what I use it for. But it does help me sometimes, like twists of a phrase, for example, or oh yeah, that's what it meant. But sometimes, or more or less, it oftentimes the machine is just doesn't get it because it,
Right.
it, it has a bias. For example, now we are talking about, we are all feminists here. It has a male bias. That's one of the biggest problems for artificial intelligence. It has a male bias because it draws from the cultural um, setting, the world that we live in, and so it has a male bias. It always assumes that we are talking about a man
Hmm.
in a particular sentence, or maybe one of the most common phrases that I always think about is doctors and nurses, and Spanish, oh, doctores y enfermera. Why?
Mhm.
So yeah, that machine translation doesn't get that, um, and obviously is teachable, and we have to teach it. But for a literary translator, um, I don't think it is going to give the is going to get the nuances that are or the poetic language. For example, I was talking earlier when we were just entering this seminar, this interview. We were talking about Ray Bradbury. He had such a musical language, such a beautiful way and turns of phrase that he invented, that I don't think a machine will ever, you know,
Definitely not.
yeah,
Definitely not.
it
Right.
get.
That's why
And
it is important to learn what it is, how it works, the limitations it has, and learn to use what what works for us and leave the rest aside. You know, I'm the kind of person that thinks, okay, it's a tool among many other tools out there, and I know for sure, and I'm that sure that I know that I'm getting recorded in this, and someone's gonna watch this years after this. I'm sure it will never replace human translation the way we know it. But again,
Also,
yeah, you should learn how to use it in a
sorry,
way.
Lucia, building up on what Tess was saying, I think when we talk about artificial intelligence, we are talking about repetition, because that's what artificial intelligence does. Whereas in projects like this, which imply collective translation, we're talking about a collective construction of new realities. Because many things of what we are saying now and many things along the process have to do with changing, as Agustina was saying before as well, right? Like about something political, a change, which implies a change.
Right.
So that's something that
Creativity,
exactly,
creativity
creativity
can,
and
right. It's what matters at the end of the day, definitely, especially in literary translation.
Yeah, in
Um,
particular, sorry, I just wanted
yeah.
to add, in particular for this project, for example, I found that there was a reference to philosophy thing about Aristotle. I don't remember quite well. Um, it was just a passing reference in the text, and it was just the background of what she was saying, what Virginia was saying, uh, and I went into a rabbit hole, went down a rabbit hole trying to understand what she meant, and I realized that what she it's just two words, a phrase that she included was a reference to another things that I didn't particularly have to include in the translation, but I had to understand that in order to translate it. A machine can do that. I mean, a machine, yeah, it has all this knowledge database worldwide, but it cannot pinpoint exactly what a person is saying when it is not written out, it's not written straightforward.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
Luckily, the decision at the end of the day is ours,
mhm, mhm,
which
exactly.
is a lot, you know. Now, the presentation of the book will take place in a unique setting, right? Is it the English Cemetery of Malaga? How did you come up with that idea? And does that location hold any significance for the project?
Well, that was the easiest choice. Actually, Patricia should be here explaining this because Patricia lives in Malaga and
Mhm.
she works at the cemetery. So
Oh,
it was easy. She had the
wow.
contacts. And then when we were thinking about the date and those this stuff, we thought, okay, all these witches presenting Virginia Woolf book in Halloween and
Halloween.
at the cemetery. I mean, it was awesome. It was
Right. I think it's
hallucinating.
very original. It's a very original idea. Yes.
Yes, but beyond that, the cemetery has an important historical significance. This was the first Protestant cemetery on mainland Spain. It
Hmm.
was created in 1831 by the British Council in Malaga. Uh, it is an operational cemetery and a historic monument with beautiful gardens and that date back to the 19th century. So the setting was very related to England. And also here lie the remains of many notable figures from Europe and Spain, including the writer Gerald Bernard, who was
Oh,
a member of the Bloomsbury group, where Virginia was a core member, and he was also a close friend of Virginia's and her husband. They exchange letters regularly, so he and his wife are in this cemetery. And also, the cemetery is a cultural center run by a nonprofit foundation,
oh,
and several events take place there, including book presentations. So it was everything fit perfectly
perfectly. It's
for
like
the
the perfect
audience,
setting.
us. for our first presentation, it was the perfect setting.
Definitely.
And
And anyone can attend, right? It's open to everyone,
yes,
the
it's
presentation?
public, open to anyone, of course.
Good.
And
We're gonna share.
also
When is it? When is the date? It's
the
September, October?
October 30. It
October
couldn't
30.
be on October 31st. That would be real Halloween, but
Right.
it was
You're,
near.
you're gonna get
It
ready
was
for
weekend.
Halloween. Right, right.
Yes,
That weekend, that same
but
weekend.
it was near, so part of joke, but also seriously, it was the best place. And also, there is another colorful note about Malaga City. From there was born the famous Spanish bailaora who named Pepita de Oliva. She was the grandmother of Vita, Virginia's lover. So there was some connection, affective connection between Virginia Woolf and Malaga too.
Malaga. Oh, I imagine the energy
That
that
was
is going to be there. You're going to have
wow.
in that presentation that day.
The whole
Yes.
Yes,
joy.
and also just to give some advance that on November 30 there will be the second big presentation in Barcelona. We will be announcing the details, but it will be a whole morning of conference dedicated to Virginia with the book presentation. We will give details soon, and we are also exploring
And yeah, I can
different
share them.
settings in Madrid, Zaragoza, and many cities of Spain first. So we will keep informing about the next events we will have. But we are thinking to do in as many cities as possible.
Awesome. That's great. Let us know when you're in Latin America too.
Yes, that's the idea.
Yes,
That's the idea.
the book will be printed in Argentina. We are just starting to contact printers in Argentina because
Good.
we need to print there because of the costs. We cannot go to Latin America and Argentina with Spanish
Agree.
cost.
That's
So we
what
are printing there. Yes.
publishing houses are doing nowadays. Yeah, they are having second versions, different versions in Latin America to make them accessible to everyone. Yeah, on this side of the world. I think it's great that you're coming this way where I am. Now, what do you hope readers will take away from this edition of Lunes o Martes? Is there a broader message or impact that you hope your work will achieve beyond the book itself?
I can answer this one if you want. I mean, I was thinking about this when the previous questions were raised. I mean, what you said before. I mean, what Maui said about accessibility and the whole feminist approach. I mean, we as translators are always talking about visibility and how before translators were pushing for visibility. I mean, uh, people thought that books were like conversations. I mean, they still believe that because I see important publishing houses that have conversations with a foreign author and the I don't know and the interviewer, and it's like I see that and I see that someone is missing in that conversation because the person is doing question based on what she or he has read as the translation, but she's not involving the translator in the conversation. So it's like a bit like I don't know. I'm missing out on something. There's someone who should be in this table and it's not. And I think what happened with visibility and with accessibility is what we said before. We didn't even know that there were people that were probably not reading of um, because no one was thinking about them, and it's kind of sad because it has a very I don't know, you can solve it very quickly. It's just like no one is thinking about it,
Right.
and so it's like this empathy with everyone. I think it's a very broad concept that is not only I don't know, it doesn't have to do only with translation or with Virginia or even with feminism. It's about humanity. So I think that would be a great thing to achieve.
Yeah, that's what you are doing. You're achieving it already. So yes, it's definitely you're getting to a broader audience with a beautiful piece of literature and thinking not just about the regular reader. You're taking that beyond that. So I think I have no other words than other than congratulations, because you're what you're doing. I think personally, I think it's great. I have a personal, I'm very fond of books and literature and literary translation. So I'm not being objective here at all. But at the same time, I think this kind of projects, it's they make a difference. They make a difference. There's no way they wouldn't make any difference at all. So I do think it's great. So Erika or anyone else, can you give me a glimpse into the future? What's next for Ciempiés? What are there
In
new
Argentina first.
Yes,
aside from
first
presenting?
printing book in Argentina. But as we were saying, Libros del Ciempiés is a small, independent, self-managed publishing house. So we cannot handle more than 1 or 2 books per year because,
Right.
yes, because we cannot.
Yes.
At least for now, if we are fortunate enough, maybe people will support us, and then maybe we'll be able to grow and make more books per year.
Mhm.
But having said that, we do have some, or should I say many projects, because we are always thinking about what to do. But in the near future, we have. The first one is going to be published by the end of this year or the beginning of 2025. The title is Ansus, and it's a trilingual collection of feminist fairy tales written in Turkish and English by Defne Chisakça and translated into Spanish by me.
Nice.
And it's going to be published trilingually. They're a very ambitious project we have. The next one is what Javier Rey is working on his second novel, and we are not allowed to say anything about this.
Top secret.
Top secret, yes.
It's among us.
But we think 2025 is the year for that novel.
Good.
And of course, we have already selected 2 authors for our Clásicos accessibles, both feminist. One is a US writer with a short story almost everyone has heard of. It's a horror short story, but perhaps not too many people have read it, or at least in translation, because there are not so many translations of this person. And the other one is an Italian author, an invisibilized voice. I think there is only one book translated into Spanish of her. So
Okay.
we are
Top
not
secret.
saying yes.
So a lot of
Let's
things
keep the
are happening.
mystery. Yes,
There are a lot of
lots
things
of
happening
things.
Coming
there.
soon.
Yes,
Announcing soon.
yes.
And yeah,
Let's keep the
Coming
stay
mystery.
soon.
tuned. Stay tuned. We're gonna be sharing
Stay tuned.
more information real soon. Well,
Yes.
okay. Thank you all for making some room in your calendars for this interview today. It means a lot to me and to the Prosacom community. I hope you can come back to present the book, the collection, future projects. That we can have a second conversation soon enough, so that you can share what you're doing and inspire others in the community, in the language and translation community. I would really like to stay in touch, because I don't want to miss anything that you guys are doing, because I think it's great. It's real. You're into really interesting projects. Things are happening, and I can tell you're doing wonderful things. So if they call us noisy, to us women. Let's make noise. That's my motto. So
Totally.
so thank
Thank you
you.
for the space, Lucia.
Thank you very much,
Thank you so
Thank
Lucia.
you for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much for your time.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
having us here.
Thank you. And if you would like to learn more about the Women in Translation Initiative by Pros.com, I invite you to check the website, pros.com/women in translation. It's a very new initiative. We've been doing this for a couple months. We have a lot of women talking every day.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you.
Congratulations for the
It's
project.
it's a
That's great.
really, really nice project, a really nice initiative. We're getting women from all over the world talking to each other daily, sharing information, attending workshops, supporting each other. So we're having a great time, and there too things are happening. So you're all welcome to join anytime you want. And like I said, hopefully we can see each other in Argentina when they get the book
Yes.
published, and in future interviews and conversations for future projects. Thank you again.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Lucia.
Take
for the
care.
space.
Thanks
Have a
everyone for
great time.
joining today.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.